type of season that you guys have had to be able to overcome, have triumphs as well as overcome the adversities. What have you learned about yourself and this team over the course of the season to be in the position that you're in now?
Yeah, man, we're resilient, and I think the stuff that we've gone through this year has shown that. And I'm proud of these guys, man, because it hasn't been an easy road. And when you come into a season with the type of expectations that we had, you're never really gonna satisfy everyone, and it's about how you bounce back from those tough times. And it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a perfect game, never going to have a perfect season. Very rarely. So you got to be able to bounce back from anything that happens and be resilient. And I think that the thing about this team that I love so much is that every time we get knocked down, we bounce right back. I think we showed that in the last game, man. And I just want to finish this thing the right way for these guys and for this university.
A couple of guys I talked to talk about Chip Kelly. They talk about the creative mind that he's displayed over the course of the season. What have you taken away from Chip that's really helped you out of his creativity to be able to be more versatile on the field?
Yeah, with him, he's just such a sharp mind. I mean, being able to be in a room with him every single day is a blessing for me, because he's coached for as long as I've been alive. And when I was growing up, I was an Eagles fan. He was an Eagles coach. It's just like it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that I'm being coached by him. And just throughout this whole year, I think we've become kind of on the same page about a lot of things, and we've kind of gotten in sync on a lot of things. And he's taught me so much. I feel like I've been able to give him some perspective on some things, and I think between him, Coach Day, Billy Fessler doesn't get a lot of credit. He's like our my go-to guy in that quarterback room. I got to shout him out, man. He does so much for me on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Those guys have turned me into a better player.
Having a guy like Jeremiah Smith basically at your disposal, seeing his skill set and watching him elevate over the course of the season, what are some of the things that we don't see that you all see maybe in practices or in the locker room that we are seeing the finished product on the field?
Man, he's special, and I think it's just the way that he approaches every single day. It's not like he's just going out there and making these unbelievable plays. He's doing it in practice every single day, and he's working at it, and he wants this, more than anything. And when you have a kid that's that talented and that mature at that young age, you don't find that very often. And I'm just thankful that he's on my team, man. He's a hell of a player, and he's only getting better from here. And that's the crazy thing, is that I think when it's all said and done, man, he could be one of the best to ever play this game. And I think he's got that kind of potential, but he's just got to keep working, and I know he will. And he's humble too, man. He's a different breed.
Transferring in, what kind of learning curve was there? Was there a moment where you felt like you kind of had a better grasp of the offense?
Yeah, I think the spring period for me was definitely an interesting transition. Really, I realized, and I've told this story before, but there was a play during spring ball where I went out there and just had go balls on either side, and I decided to throw Jeremiah to the field. And I went out and I took a 3-step drop, and I took 2 hitches to throw a go ball. And Coach Day's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, 3 and 2. That's how I throw go balls at K-State. Like, that was the timing that I was taught. And he's like, "You're gonna underthrow it by 10 yards every time if you do that here. It's just different. The speed is different." And I was like, that was the moment where I was kind of like, "Oh, all right, this is a different level, different level of speed and talent around me, and I'm gonna have to, raise myself to that level." And going through that whole spring was a big learning curve for me, just learning the offense, because when I got there we didn't have an OC. We didn't really have an OC until about a week before spring ball. So I struggled a little bit in the spring. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have my best showing, I don't think, all throughout the spring. I think I got better as it went on. I don't think I was really comfortable in it till about practice 8 or 9 of spring ball. But really, when we got into fall camp, that was when I felt like I had really settled in and understood the offense, and really, kind of felt comfortable taking on more of a leadership position on the team.
Did the win against Tennessee, did that feel kind of like the culmination of all that work you sort of put in to get up to the offense?
I think it's a step, and I don't want to say that's the culmination of everything, because we still have more that we're chasing. But I think that was definitely a good step. And we talked about, that the first step of the playoffs and getting the first one is big. And, I think the fact that we were able to go out there and play well and move the ball, but it wasn't perfect. That's the thing. We still got to learn from some of the mistakes we made in that game. But I think that was good. We got to keep that same edge, though. We have to keep the chip on our shoulder, and we can't let a little success make us become complacent, because that's when problems start happening.
Well, Justin Price said that when Seth went down in that practice, one of the things he talked about was how your leadership took even another step up. What did you feel at that moment? That was a critical moment for this team.
Yeah, it was. It was Indiana week. We're going into a top 5 matchup, and we lose our guy, our starting center, who's just a dude, man, and easily my best friend on this team. And I die for that guy. And when I saw him go down, and I knew pretty much what it was, we all kind of knew. It hurt me, and I was damn near on the edge of tears. Like I just wanted to. Everything in me wanted to stop and go home and weep for that kid, but I knew that's not what he wanted, and he would have wanted us to go and beat the heck out of Indiana and have a great Tuesday practice. That was when it happened, and I just said to myself, I was like, I can't let this derail this game and this practice, and I tried to ask myself, what would Seth do, and I went out there and just tried to carry on the leadership that he brought.
Do you ever allow yourself to stop and think, I'm throwing to a bunch of NFL receivers, or is it's just Jeremiah and Mac and Parnell?
I was just looking at Mac. It's yeah. I mean, you know what you're getting into when you come to a place like Ohio State, but yeah, it's still surreal. Making some of those guys making some of the plays that they make, and they're mistake erasers. I say that a lot. I want to be perfect with my ball placement, and I want to, put the ball where it needs to be every single time. But the reality is that I might miss every once in a while. But those guys are going to make me right. And the reality is I just got to give those guys a chance. And especially on deep balls, give them a chance, man. They'll go do the rest. And they've shown that this year. And it's an embarrassment of riches being able to play with those guys, and they make me better. And I like to think, we make each other better.
Well, I was asking Dylan Gabriel about this too, but how much do you visualize? How much time do you spend on visualization during the week? Not just looking at video, but kind of trying to see things before they happen, make it a deja vu kind of thing.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend on that, and how important is that in a game like this?
I think it's very important. I think, there's different ways to visualize, and I'm more of a written visualization kind of learner. I like to, what's up, Fryer? I kind of like to, go through, every play, and I say, hey, what if they run this coverage against it? What are we going to do if they run this coverage against it? Hey, what if we get this pressure against it? And those are the kind of things I like to think through, scenarios and try to have answers for everything. And then really the night before, I like to sit down and, just visualize and see myself, making plays, and that's that night, sitting in the hotel. That's when I like to do that.
Josh Fryer blocking Jordan Birch.
Exactly, like Josh Fryer kicking out Jordan Birch, No, man, he's a heck of a player.
Did you play somebody before, though, in that process?
Yes, 100%. I think when you play somebody twice, it really brings out the chess game and the game inside the game, and I've said that a bunch, and it makes it fun, man. I'm a football nerd at heart, and I'm a geek for the playbook and playing games with your opponents, and I think that's what makes it fun, playing a team twice, and especially a team of this caliber, man. And I know they're getting their rusher back, Jordan Birch. He's a heck of a player, man, and so we'll have our hands full, and we knew that. You come to the Rose Bowl, you're in the CFP. You're playing the best of the best every single week, so we're gonna have to bring our A game, and we're excited for the challenge.
I think the ups and downs for you guys this season will better prepare you for this time.
I do. I think that we've been able to, every time we've been knocked down, we've bounced back, and I think that speaks a lot to the character of the guys in their locker room and the coaching and just the university as a whole. And I think I think that the ups and downs that we have gone through this year, you feel them, and it's not easy. But I think that does kind of give you a callus a little bit, and you kind of you aren't affected by things as much. And I think that speaks, for me personally, in my career, I've probably thrown as many interceptions through my 5 years in college football as probably a lot of people. But, it's about how you bounce back, and it's about how you learn from those mistakes and make sure they don't happen again. And I think that we've done a good job of that this year, and we have to continue to do that the last 3 weeks here.
Does it feel like a grind at all this year with the expanded playoff? How does more teams?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't feel any different to me because I was ready. If I didn't end up here at Ohio State, I was going to end up going to the NFL, and it would have been a long season. Assuming I would have stayed on the team, I think obviously I made the right choice coming here to Ohio State, but I knew what I was getting myself into, and we all knew what we were getting ourselves into. We did not expect to be here and just play a normal season. Like we knew. I remember Coach Mick making us do 17 push-ups, at the beginning of the season because we had 17 games on our schedule. So we were ready for this the whole way. Yeah, thank you.
How would you describe Chip Kelly's offense, and how has the style schematically kind of benefited this team?
I think it's really creative, and especially in the run game, I think a lot of the stuff that he does is just different. Stuff that you wouldn't even really think of, gimmicks and different things that he's done in the past. Is cool and it's creative, and it's brought life to this offense. And for me, it makes me, be able to critically think a little more, and he's pushed me to see outside the box a little more on some things, schematically. But this whole year, just working with him and getting coaching from him, and I've said it, Coach Day and Billy Fessler and Riley Larkin, and those guys have changed me into a different player. And I'm telling you, those guys have given me some life lessons and some lessons on the field that I'll never be able to repay.
So did Chip have a nickname for you? I heard he gave you guys a nickname.
I don't think he had a nickname for me. He really just had Chad Ray Field Goal. That's what he calls him. It's an inside joke, but we all have our little nicknames and stuff. So
Chip's secretly funny.
he is. He's a funny guy, man. He's he likes to have fun, and that's I love that. Being able to be locked in and grinding, but also being able to have fun while we're doing it and joke around a little bit. And I spent Christmas Eve at his house with my mom went over there, and Devin and Lincoln, we went over there and spent Christmas Eve with him and his wife and the dogs, and it was awesome, man. I know he as a head coach missed that, being able to interact with kids and having a room, and I know that was part of the reason why he came here. And I think the room that we do have is fun, and I think we have a lot of fun together, and he's a big part of that, man. And it's just been everything about my transition here has been awesome. Thank you.
Your Instagram caption last week was sick. So I want to ask, first off, is Game of Thrones your favorite show?
Yes.
And also, who is your favorite character, and do you wish the ending was better?
Dude, I'm a huge Game of Thrones geek. I did not expect that to go that viral. I just was I don't know why I was sitting there and I was like, it was cold, play on the North thing, and it just popped into my head, and I looked up Game of Thrones North quotes, and that was the first one that came up, the Arya after she, slays the phrase. I'm a huge Game of Thrones nerd. Easily Jon Snow is my favorite character. I wish he would have ended up, being not getting sent back beyond the wall, but
Facts.
yes, I'm not a huge fan of the way it ended, but I am a huge Game of Thrones fan, so that was the reason for that.
Yeah, and was it seeing Tennessee with their shirts off in the cold? Did that remind you of just Game of Thrones? You're like Arya Stark.
Maybe a little bit. It was everyone all week was talking about how cold it was going to be and them coming up into the cold. So yeah, I had a little fun with it. I did not expect it to be that viral or anything like that, but that was just me kind of being a Game of Thrones geek. I just thought it was cool. But yeah, it was just having fun with it, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've grown a ton, and I think one of the biggest things that I've grown in is my ability to not force things, not try to make things happen, but let them happen, and taking the completions when they're there, and not forcing the ball down the field, really just being able to take the game as it comes to me and keep the drives alive. And I think I've done a better job of that this year, and my completion percentage reflects that. And that was a big thing that the coaches really emphasized for me this fall camp and this off season was taking completions, especially on first and second down. Like, no matter what it is, you don't have to make the play right. You just have to, you got to gain yards. And that's the end of the day. Like, hey, if everything's covered, go gain 5 yards with your feet. And I think I've gotten better at that this year. And that's all thanks to the coaching that I've gotten.
Who's your inspiration in life?
In life, my parents, no question. My mom and my dad, they've shown me how to work hard. They started a business from nothing when I was a little kid, and I watched them grow it and become, hey guys, and they really just really showed me how to be a man in every sense of the word, and I'm so thankful for them, and they inspire me every single day to be the best that I can be.
What would be the key ingredients for victory come Rose Bowl day?
Weathering the storm and poise, and I think they're a good team, man. They're going to make plays, and we're going to have to, no matter what happens, stay neutral and stay poised and just keep on trucking.
What would you say to your friends, family, and fans?
I appreciate you guys so much, man. I couldn't thank everyone that's helped me get to this point enough, and I love all you guys. Go Bucks.
Love you more.
Thank y'all. What's up, Pete? Good, man.
How you called going into against Tennessee. You've obviously had 23 different offensive combinations. It's just been How much did the misdirection and the shifts in motions help things get settled in against Tennessee to get guys on?
Yeah, I think something that we knew going into that game was that the shifts and motions that messed with them a little bit, and the more that we could get them to communicate, the better. And that was something we wanted to attack, and we knew that their corners were going to be left on islands a little bit, and they were great players. But we have some pretty good players too. So we like those matchups, and at the end of the day, I think we were aggressive and we stayed on schedule, and we were able to move the ball down the field. And I think our offensive line played a hell of a game, and they were able to get movement on that front. They were great. I mean, their front was as good as we've seen, and they were. Our offensive line did a heck of a job, and we're going up against another great front this week. So I'm excited for the challenge. Yeah, he's a dude, man. He's a dude, and it definitely was nice not having him out there last time. But he's one of their best players, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. And I think our tackles are too, and he's a great pass rusher. He's also physical. He's a smart player, and just watching him on film, I think he's pretty instinctual. But we're excited. We want the full strength, and we want to do this thing the right way, man. And I'm excited. It's going to be a great challenge. They're a great team. He's a great player, and I'm looking forward to it.
As a quarterback, is it fun when there's a lot of pre-snap stuff and you're the orchestra conductor?
Yeah, it is. It makes you feel like you're in control, and whenever you're on offense, you want to feel like you're dictating the pace to the defense. You don't want to feel like the opposite way, and when you're able to move people around and do stuff like that, and that was, going into that game, that was part of our game plan, and obviously every game's different. So, we'll see what this game calls for, but I do like that. I do like being able to be more involved in the run game and the shifts and the motions and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Last question, just you guys played with an edge, right? Mm-hmm. And edge comes from success. How do you galvanize that a little bit and keep it?
Yeah, we have to take that game and let it give us confidence and momentum, but not give us any sort of complacency. And we have to keep that same chip on our shoulder that we had in that game, because we played pissed off, we played angry, and you could see it. And I think when we play like that, we're hard to beat, and we have to keep that same mentality. And I think that's really what the difference was that anger, that pissed off, that chip on our shoulder that we played with, and that's going to be crucial in this game. Thank you.
We've talked a ton about playing the same team twice, but it's maybe one of the advantages or one of the things distinctive, knowing that guy across from you. You don't have anybody across from you, but you know his tendencies. You face that dude before. How much does that help with the confidence and the knowledge?
Talking about Kobe? Or are you talking about just everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play a team twice, it's a challenge, but it's also, like I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I remember, what they were doing on this, what they were doing on that, but at the same time, it's they've evolved and we've evolved. So it's balancing, what do we remember from that game? How have they changed? How do they want to play now? Because they're not the same team they were. We're not the same team we were in week 6. So it's that chess game. And I've said it a bunch today, but it's that chess game of the game within the game, and they're going to make some changes. We're going to make some changes, and it's all about that that schematic chess game.
Individual talent doesn't change.
Yeah.
So you know what he can do. You know
Yes.
what this guy can do.
Yes,
Right?
100%. Yeah, you understand the tendencies. You understand how those guys are playing, how they, how their corners want to play. Are their DNs pup guys? Are they mesh charge guys? You know that kind of stuff. And obviously that kind of stuff doesn't change much. The technique, whatever they're doing on a day-to-day basis like that doesn't really change the individual talent. But the schematics change, and maybe there's some personnel moved around here and there. But again, it is nice to kind of be familiar with how the corners want to play, and what this coverage kind of looks like versus this coverage, different things like that. But you got to continue to study film and just try and pick up every little detail we can.
Last thing, do you feel fortunate personally to get a do-over in a sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in life you don't get a lot of second chances, and I've said that a bunch. And I feel blessed by the Lord and by a lot of things that we're getting another chance at this. And we knew we'd be here, and this is why I came to Ohio State, was to play in big games like this. And I'm just so thankful that we're here and we get another crack at these guys, and on the biggest stage in college football. It's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I wanted to ask about Luke Montgomery. He was one of our local guys in high school.
Yeah.
What kind of spark did he give you guys against Tennessee? What kind of guy is he?
Finley, Ohio, man. He's a dog. He came in there and proved a lot of people wrong, man. He played a hell of a game, and I'm so proud of him. And there were a lot of question marks about the O-line, and I think he answered a lot of them, and I think all of them answered a lot of them. And Luke played with an edge that game, and you could see it, man. He had a cut on his nose, and he's bleeding, and he's like smacking his helmet in front of me, and I'm like, that fires me up as a quarterback. That gets me going, man. Like, I just love that. I love that edge and that pissed off mentality that he was playing with, and when he plays like that, man, he's a damn good player.
One more thing. With them choosing to stay in this era with all the stories you hear, everything in this era, what does that say about him riding this out through the end? Could be another month.
I love that guy, man. I love that guy, and he would do anything for this team, and I know that. And he didn't want to leave this thing, any other way than going out the right way, and I think, it just shows the team guy that he is, and even though he is in the portal and he has to look for other opportunities, like, he's still here, and he's grinding every single day, and he's in there with me in every single meeting and trying to pick up everything that I can, and so he's ready, if his number's called, and I'm just really proud of the way that he's handled it, and he's one of my best friends here, and no, he's awesome, man. You guys good?
I got one for you.
Yeah.
You probably asked all those things, but preparing for Oregon after you've already seen them just a couple of weeks ago, how does that challenge things? Does that make things any easier? What's the dynamic of a rematch and a playoff?
Yeah, I think there's good and bad to it. There's familiarity there. You know how they're gonna individually play.
Attention, we have a brief announcement from the side of the room regarding our Rose Bowl Game Scholar Athlete Award.
Oh shoot.
Hello, my name is Kevin Ash. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer of the Rose Bowl Game. The Rose Bowl Game Scholar Athlete Award was first given in 2019. It's to the top student athlete
Who's talking?
in our game for both schools.
Oh, over there.
It's based on academic achievement and community service
Seth.
to each of the participating
It's gotta be Seth.
students. In addition to their individual award,
JT.
trophies with
JT.
trophies that appear in the Tournament of House, Tournament of Roses up in the football room, and with your name on it. And I'm pleased to announce that Donovan Jackson is our recipient from Ohio State.
Hey!
Yep. He won the OSU Scholar Athlete 2021-2022 Big Ten Conference Distinguished Scholar, Academic All-Big Ten Honoree. Donovan Jackson.
Sorry. I forgot I'm still at the podium here. My bad.
Celebrate your teammates.
Yeah, man, you got the Scholar Athlete Award. That's awesome. Sorry, well, remind me.
The dynamic of a rematch.
Yeah, man, it's cool, and I've done it personally in my career when we played TCU in the Big 12 championship for the second time, and it's different. It's like I said, the familiarity's there, but also you know that they're not going to come out and do the same stuff, and we know that we're probably not going to attack them the same way. So I've said all day, like it's that game inside the game kind of. What have they done since we played them? What have we done since we played them? There's a lot of different things that goes into it, but it makes it fun, and it brings out the the football geek in me a little bit, and allows me to nerd out a little bit and be able to figure out what works, what doesn't, and try to attack these guys the best way we can.
Remind me, last year, K-State, what bowl game did they play in?
They played in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I was not a part of it because I was in the portal, but yeah, Pop-Tart
the team
Bowl.
will leave and
How
head out for
does
the
the
day.
I mean, you didn't get to exactly participate, but
Yeah.
the Rose Bowl against the Pop-Tart Bowl, that's quite a difference between bowl experiences.
It is, and I still love my guys at K-State, man. I'm happy to see them, win the Rate Bowl. Shout out to those guys, man. Shout out Coach Kleiman. Really proud of them and the way they were able to finish their season. But yeah, man, I came to Ohio State for a reason, and here we are at the Rose Bowl, and it's just an unbelievable opportunity. If you were to ask me, a year and a half ago, if I'd be here, I'd probably tell you you're crazy. So, God's blessed me in a multitude of ways, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
What's the biggest difference you've seen from your offensive line over this last month as they have evolved and with all the injuries and have changed things around?
Yeah, they played with an edge last game, man, and they played pissed off, and I was so happy to see that. And they accepted the challenge because they were getting challenged a little bit, and they heard it. And the way that they stepped up against that Tennessee front, I was so proud of those guys, man, and just so happy for the success that they had, and want them to continue to play with that edge and that chip on their shoulder. Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you. You guys good?